Hey everybody, welcome back to Pool School. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how to backwash a sand filter. So if you have a sand filter, you are definitely going to want to watch this one. If you don't, you can skip it and move on. What do you say we go to school? Okay, I'm at one of my clients' houses who happens to have a sand filter, and I want to show you the first thing I do before I backwash any type of filter. I'm going to check the water level. I'm going to show you how. The thing you're going to want to make certain of is when you backwash the pool is that you have enough water in the pool to actually backwash it. And the way I tell that is I look for the skimmer, which is right over there. You see that opening in the tile line. You can see it, and there's a lid above it in the deck. That's your skimmer opening. And I want to make sure that the water is about halfway up that tile line. As long as it's halfway up that tile line, there's plenty of water and I can backwash it. If it's below that tile line, you might be in trouble, you might not be able to backwash it, or you might end up damaging your equipment. So make sure that there's plenty of water in your pool. Okay, so I've made my way back to my pool equipment area. This client has a Pentair Triton 2 sand filter. It's very large because he has a pretty big pool. And I've already gone ahead and checked the pump basket and emptied it to make sure that everything's going okay. And I've fired the system up to let it run for a couple minutes to reprime the pump and to make sure there's no air in the system. And I've also shut it off now to make sure that the water pressure balances. Once you fired up your system, I'm going to do this again really quick for you so you can see it. So I've got the system running and there's water pressure going through all the pipes, and that also gets the water moving through the sand and kind of loosens it up and loosens the dirt up. I'm going to shut that off. And once I shut it off, I want to give it a few seconds before I mess with the backwash valve so that it makes it easier to manipulate the valve. That means the pressure inside has been okay. All right, so this is Pentair's backwash valve. A lot of them work on the same principle. Either they're raised up to filter or pushed down to filter, and then the opposite direction is the actual backwash. This one is raised up to filter, and you notice it has a little guide right here that you can see. See that little tang right there? That's a locking mechanism so that the thing doesn't accidentally slam down and go into backwash mode when the system's running. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to twist that till it's clear of that guide, and then I'm going to push it down. And I got to wiggle this one as I do it, and then it just clicks down in place. You can hear the water starting to flow out of there already. And I'm going to twist it to lock it back in place. Once I've done that, I'm going to go back to the time clock, fire up the pump, and it is in backwash mode. Now remember, I've already made sure that the hose or wherever the water is flowing to has been opened up so that the water will flow clearly. If you have a backwash hose, you're going to want to put that to wherever you've identified as your area to drain water. So this is supposed to run for about 2.5 to 3.5 minutes. So in the meantime, I'm going to shut this off and I'll come back when it's done. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and first and foremost shut the equipment off, give it a few seconds to let the water pressure stabilize. Now I'm going to come back to the valve and just repeat the process in reverse. I'm going to twist the valve till that little tab down there, if you can see it, that little metal pin is clear of the barrier. I'm going to raise it up. It clicks into place on top. I make sure it's high enough that it's above that barrier, and then I'm just going to twist it so that that little tab or that little peg is resting, not resting, but sitting above that. So that way when the system fires back up, it doesn't slam back down into backwash mode. Then all I'm going to do after that is fire the system back up, and we're back in business. Sometimes when you finish backwashing a pool and you put it back into filter mode, you might get a little bit of dirty water blowing back into the pool through the returns. That's okay, it's very common. It just means some of that dirty water got trapped inside the return pipes and it's blowing back in the pool. It's not a lot, and the filter will take care of it. I've been asked by people, how often should you backwash a sand filter? Well, it depends on use and the environment you live in. If it's really dusty, you're probably going to do it more frequently. But usually during the summer peak season or the peak months, I will backwash a sand filter every 1 to 3 weeks. And then in the off season, I'll usually backwash them every 4 to 6 weeks. Hey, real quickly, before I end this episode on backwashing sand filters, I wanted to show you another type of backwash valve that comes on the Stay Right filters. You might want to check this one out too. So this is a Stay Right sand filter, and again, it's pretty big. And this is the backwash valve that this particular client has on this pool. So if you have a valve like this, pay attention on this one. Basically, same idea. It's locked down right now and it's in the filter position. One other thing to consider, you notice down inside there you see that blue hose. That's where the water is going to come out, and I've already unrolled that hose and set it out there to where it can backwash. So make sure that you've got your hose laid out. In this particular valve, all you're going to do is take this locking pin right here and undo it, slide it out, and then you're going to take this lever and just lift straight up on it, kind of wiggle it till it locks open, and now it's in the backwash mode. I fire up the filter, and you'll see the water going through the hose, and there it is. That's going to backwash for a few minutes, and then I'll show you how to close it up. Okay, so it's been about 2.5 minutes, so what I'm going to do is come over here, and I'm going to shut the time clock off, make sure it doesn't turn on me. I'm going to come back to my valve. Remember, I've given it a few seconds so the pressure can balance out and equalize. I'm just going to press this lever down, kind of wiggle it, and it'll kind of make a little lock into place. It kind of gets stuck right there, and then it'll clunk down into place just like that. I'm going to take my locking pin again, and it goes right into this hole. You can see that hole, I'm hoping, right there. I'm going to put it in the back side of it, thread it, just slide it through, and lock it. Then all I'm going to do, fire up the system, and I'll make sure I put that hose away too. I'm going to fire up the system, and we're back in business. So if you have a valve like this, that's how you're going to want to backwash it. So there you have it. That's how you backwash a typical sand filter. Remember, the valves may vary, but it pretty much works on the same principle. It's either up or down to filter, and the opposite of that to backwash. So if you have a specific type of valve that you'd like me to show you how to work, please feel free to email me directly, or you can post a comment below and ask me about a particular valve. Chances are I work with one of those valves anyway. So other than that, that's it for Pool School today. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And if you have any friends that have pools, please share this with them as well. Remember, be safe, be cool, and always watch your kids around water. I'll see you next time.